Go again.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian.
I'm Damien.
And I'm Adrian.
And this will be the last Media Munchers of 2022, gentlemen.
Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Dang, so much has happened this year. I graduated.
Congrats to Damien.
High
He
school.
graduated. Congrats to the
Nice.
class of 2022.
Okay, what big accomplishments?
I
did you make?
already graduated.
Hey,
This
you
year?
already
Yeah,
graduated.
been graduated since 2017.
Nah. Oh.
Yeah. Hey, good job,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what's up.
Don't put that.
Okay, I won't. Well, congrats to you, Damien. We have a little bit of news today, and then we got a couple of trailers. Got to squeeze a few more in, and then we have our Avatar 2 review. So let's just get right into it without further ado. For those of us who haven't been keeping up, he's been coming down with this weird disease. I don't know what it is, but I know the result is that nerves in his face have been like paralyzed.
Oh,
He's actually like his ability to sing, his quality of life has like gone down a bit.
oh man. That's good.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
bueno.
What's the disease
Justin
called?
Bieber?
Justin Bieber, man, the one and only.
Wow.
Like, baby.
How-
Isn't Zac Efron going through something similar?
I think
Or
that's
no?
different. No,
Is it?
that was the whole like he got into a car accident and his jaw was messed up thing.
Right.
That is completely not the same thing. I think
Oh.
he has like what is the name of the disease? Let me see if I can read in this article. I believe it was.
Yeah, what's the name? Not indeed a believer.
It's called Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. Interesting. It's a neurological syndrome that can result in facial paralysis. He shared the news via a video posted his Instagram, and he candidly discussed the symptoms, but what is it exactly? It's the second type of syndrome, which may be caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox and shingles. The disorder is sometimes known as herpes zoster oticus. Affects it's a lot of mumbo jumbo, but long story short, it's a bundle of nerves in the facial nerve that gets affected and effectively paralyzed. He even says, he pointed out in the video, as you can see, this eye is not blinking. I can't smile on this side of my face. He pointed out the nostril will not move. So full paralysis on this side of my face. In addition to that, they may also experience neck pain, jaw and ear, and partial loss of taste. Oh my God, this is just really awful. Hearing loss, tinnitus, and sensitivity to sound. Wow. So he says he's going to get better. He's doing all these facial exercises to get back to normal. I imagine this dude has, pretty decent resources when it comes to like choosing
Right.
world-class doctors and therapies, but
for sure.
Yeah.
there's only so much you can do, especially with something as seemingly rare as this. I don't hear about
Is
something
it
like this
is it
often.
curable?
That's a good question. It seems like they can treat it with therapy, but as far as cures, let's see right here. Let's do some scientist.
So this is just something in his face?
apparently it's a syndrome that's affecting his face. Yeah, this
Oh, okay.
this little
And it was his genetics, or is it like
Probably. I'd say probably.
let's see. Apparently, what you like to do? What's expecting your
I
doctor?
mean-
Symptoms and causes. Let's find out.
If you can get that from like mixing like a
It
Four
says-
Loko or something.
No, it says it occurs when a shingles outbreak affects the facial nerve near one of your ears. So it's kind of like shingles on crack, but on your face.
Oh.
And after the chickenpox clears up, the virus still lives in your nerves. Years later, it may reactivate. When it does, it can affect your facial nerves. Wow, that is rough. Geez Louise.
I-
And what's up? What's your
What
question?
shingles?
It's just the type. I think it's like a results. It's like a more advanced form of chickenpox, from what I remember. Like
Ugh.
I know one in 3 people in their life will get shingles. So, shingles. Let's see what that is real quick. We're doing some science today, y'all. It's a viral infection that causes a painful rash. It can occur anywhere on your body. This is shingles we're talking about. It usually looks like a single type of whatever. So it's a virus, the same virus that causes chickenpox. After you've had chickenpox, the virus stays in your body the rest of your life. Years later, the virus may reactivate as shingles. Yeah. So he's got a very specific version of it that affects his facial nerves.
Yo.
So no
So
bueno.
is that something that you get from chickenpox? Or
It's
or
the same
shingles?
type of virus. So maybe he had chickenpox as a kid, and
Yeah.
then this is like an offshoot of it or a complication.
But didn't you get chickenpox as a kid?
I
too?
did. Yeah,
So,
so I could get shingles later in my life.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get chickenpox as a kid?
I don't think so.
What about you, Damon? Do you remember?
Nah.
Damn, you don't have to take the milky bath and all that.
Rip.
The oatmeal bath.
Rip.
Damn, rip me, bro.
Yeah.
Remember the oatmeal bath?
I
You took a milky bath.
somebody did in my family. I remember something about that.
It wasn't you? It wasn't you?
I don't know.
Yeah. So you asked him, what? So it says Ramsay-Hunt syndrome occurs in people who have chickenpox. So he for sure has. Virus stays in your body. Blah 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 blah. Risk factors.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that is not bueno,
That's-
guys. Not bueno.
It's like an STD, but for like nerves.
Yeah, I mean, in a
that's
way, I
terrible.
guess it's just a disease, not sexually transmitted. Though. So anyway, yeah, no bueno, and the diagnosis and treatment. It basically just antiviral drugs,
Well,
prednisone,
and
anti-anxiety, and pain relievers. You basically just have to deal with it. It doesn't sound like there's a cure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
he gets his weed from California.
He definitely gets his weed from California.
That's that
So that is that shit. So anyway, back to the headlines.
Right.
Now that we have the context, which is good, he's actually nearing a deal to sell his music rights to Blackstone-backed, I don't even know how to say that, Hypnosis Songs Capital for around $200 million. Sources confirm.
Whoa.
So there was a lot of discourse in the Reddit about this. They were like, well, 200 mil is not enough. His catalog's worth more, which if you think back to like Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson, some could argue maybe more, maybe less.
Yeah.
I would say long term, probably worth more than like 200 million sounds like a good deal for whoever's buying that catalog. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, especially if people continue to listen to his music for decades on end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If not 100 years plus. So
Right.
other people were like, 200 million, that's nothing. And people were making fun of them, saying like, oh, people with their cracked iPhones saying 200 million is nothing. So you can do a lot with that. So
Yeah.
but he proposed the remaining dates in his Justice tour, and who knows if he ever comes back to singing. I'm sure he'll try, but
I mean, hey, 200 million's like 20% of $1 billion. So.
that's he's correct on that. That's factually correct, Big A. I don't know if you knew that.
Very good.
There you go. High school graduate right there. That's what's up. No, but it's a solid chunk of change. I would think personally he's worth a little more, but I think he's just trying to secure his future for his family and his lifestyle and whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So hopefully he doesn't blow through it. All the best to him. I hope he gets
Yeah. What
better.
a turn of events.
Yeah, like that to me, like it just
crazy.
reminds you that these like larger than life figures are still human, because it's just like you wouldn't think
Right.
someone that big would just at such a relatively young age. What is he, like 27, 20?
And just like the way that he blew up.
Huge,
Like
Yeah.
child or teenage prodigy. With this.
Yeah,
whole
he was
blowing
like
up.
one of the first.
He was
Like-
definitely like the solo artist route.
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
And he grew up with it. 2009's Baby. That's just crazy how shit happens. That's pretty much it. So thought it was worth talking about. All the best. Hope he gets better.
Yeah.
We got some other news for y'all.
And
Gal Gadot returning for Fast and Furious 10 exclusive to direct.com. Yeah, so again, some more context, as you may or may not know already. The DCE,
What's up, man?
what's
I
up?
haven't
Man?
even seen like the last two.
Oh, what? Fast and Furious?
Yes, I haven't seen the
Uh.
8th or the 9th one.
Till I see you
I've seen all of them. I think.
That's the 7th one.
I know, that's the last one everyone remembers.
With Chris Paul, yeah.
8 was, I don't even remember 8. Was 8 with the one on the submarine?
Wait, Chris Paul? You mean Paul Walker?
Paul Walker.
Same thing.
Not.
I'm just
That's
I'm just
rude.
kidding. Yeah, bro. Have some respect for
I
the
think
dead,
Chris
Damien.
Paul's like a basketball player, right?
Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Chris Paul.
You know
There
what?
is a basketball player with the last name Paul.
Let me look
Yeah,
up Chris,
Chris
Paul.
Paul.
Pull that up.
I think I just called Paul Walker Chris Paul.
Dude, you called Paul Walker Chris Paul, bro.
That is a basketball.
Not
player.
even the same zip code, bro. Not even the same zip code.
No,
bro.
not at all.
Jeez Louise. So anyway,
Uh,
for those who need context,
no, there's no context.
no, they're not about Chris Paul. I'm
Right.
talking about why she would come back to the Fast and Furious
Oh,
in the
right,
first
okay.
place. So the DCEU, as we know it, the hierarchy has changed, all right, and the Rock is not
Right.
in it anymore. Neither is Henry Cavill.
Oh,
As-
so you think this has to do with?
I think
her
it. I think it very much does.
not being Wonder Woman.
I think it does, and I'm gonna make that connection for everybody right now. So, Damien, as you may or may not know, the DCU is kaput. The one you know, the shambled, no one direction. That's gone. James Gunn and his homeboy have taken over. They have like a 10-year plan. They have like a book, a Bible, as they call it, of
Right.
what's gonna happen. And considering how Black Adam did, there's no room for Dwayne Johnson's
No,
Black
there
Adam.
isn't.
And by proxy, Henry Cavill,
That's
because
so
as you
bad.
guys know,
The
Henry
greatest
Cavill was
movie of
back
the year.
in the best movie of the year. That's number one on my
Is that
list, bro.
so,
Wait till we
Damien?
get that list. So that's gone. It's done. It's kaput.
So is Henry Cavill? He's gone.
Henry Cavill's out. He was
Henry
back,
Cavill's
and
gone.
now he's out. He's gone.
Official.
He's got news too, though. He's real nerdy into like
Yeah.
Warhammer, so he's gonna start a whole cinematic universe with that too.
Mm.
You don't know what that is?
Fingers
You will.
crossed.
Yeah. Hopefully that's good.
Yeah.
But that's another tangent.
So what are they gonna do?
so
Are they still
Patty-
dropping the Flash movie?
Yes, for
Yeah,
now.
they're still dropping all the content that they've been working on.
Right.
Even
It's
though-
everything that's coming after. It's gonna be
done.
its own thing.
Rebooted.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
we're
this is like
talking
the
younger
last of this
Superman.
universe.
Mm-hmm. Well, but they were working on I think Patty Jenkins, director of Wonder Woman 1 and 2,
Yeah, she had a script for
She had
the
a script
third
for 3,
one, but
and
they
they was like,
didn't. They
nah.
didn't really like it.
not the same direction they were going.
For which?
Yeah.
For which one?
For Wonder Woman 3, Patty Jenkins, the
Oh.
director of Wonder Woman
Mhm.
1 and 2, had a script for it. James Gunn saw it, was like, nah, don't fit.
Was
my
it
plan.
James Gunn that was the deciding?
I don't know if he was
factor
the
in that?
deciding factor, but he was a factor. It's him and his creative partner, who are now running.
Well, no,
things, right?
I mean, like, was he like the head of the company at the time?
When it got rejected?
Or yeah,
Let's find out. I'm pretty sure it had something to do with it. Wonder Woman 3 canceled.
or was that like before?
No,
In terms of at least the rewrite that
let's find out.
they wanted from her.
Who canceled Wonder Woman 3? Who would do this?
So is The Rock or Black Adam takes place in this universe that they're trying to like get rid of, basically?
The Rock is kind of like in its own universe,
Okay.
but
As much as he would like to tie it into the other one, but
Yeah.
it's all a moot point. Universes
Yeah.
here, universes there. The only thing that are really in their own universes as of right now are Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Yeah.
That's its own universe for sure. We
And
talked
the
about
Batman.
it, and the Batman.
Right.
And I think they're gonna try and have their own little universe. for
yeah,
Batman.
they're trying to do like Elseworlds
Exactly.
type of thing.
So those two are for
where
sure their own
They're
little
keeping it, but
little
it's not
bubbles
connected.
because
I'm glad
it's
they've
working.
They've
Yeah.
marked those.
That's why they're safe. They actually are safe. They're gonna make it past this little merger. That's or not merger, but the hierarchy of power changing.
right.
Actually,
yeah, third
Um,
time over.
for third time's the charm. The official report was that the script was just rejected by DC Studios, so it didn't really say James Gunn
Yeah.
verbatim.
But what time?
The
what
timing
was
of
the
it?
timing of? Yeah.
That's a good question. Oh look, this headline says it was canceled by new DC boss James Gunn after his disappointing Wonder Woman 1984 report. So the news broke December 7th, which is fairly recently, and it says that the third movie will not be moving forward and is now considered dead. Holy shit! What are all these ads on this page? October. Oh my god! I'm just not gonna move anything. In October, filmmaker James Gunn and producer Peter Safran, the other half of DC Studios now, were named co-chairs and CEOs of Warner Brothers DC Studios. Much to the excitement, blah 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 blah. When Jenkins submitted her film treatment, which is a breakdown of the storyline often completed before writing the script, and it wasn't met with a warm welcome. So that is why it got canned, my guy. They were like, nope,
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
fit
I
with the new plans.
Yeah.
They said, no, bye bye. Sorry.
Yeah. Guns,
I wonder who would have been the villain
fellow.
in the movie.
You know, it's hard to say, seeing as that the script was never really written, just the treatment for it. So,
Yeah.
and even if we did know, moot point, because it's not getting made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're probably going to reboot everybody. And I think the only rumor is that maybe Jason Momoa is surviving, but not as Aquaman, but maybe as Lobo.
Right. Yeah. That was.
Lobo.
That's about it.
Although Zachary Levi did say that he's still Gucci. So
He's still Gucci. Was that his words?
yeah,
verbatim?
yeah, he said something along the lines of that.
I think
And,
those were generally positively received. Generally,
right. Yeah. Well, his movie's coming out next
that's true.
in
But
February.
You think they'll just roll him over and give him a new Black Adam eventually?
I don't know. Who
so
knows?
you think Shazam
If
and
they keep
The
him.
Rock, Black
yeah.
Adam aren't gonna meet ever?
No, not unless they do some weird like crossover event thing, like a Crisis Infinite Earth type deal, and then they bring the Rock's Black Adam back.
Yeah, because their
Right,
whole
right.
plan was kind of like relying on Black Adam to do good, so they could like put him against
wasn't-
Shazam.
It was the Rock's plan.
Yeah, it was the Rock's plan. Well, he essentially
His
tried to
solo
strong arm his way
mission.
into the DC
Yeah.
studios and make it his own corner, rather cut out of it.
Mhm.
And womp womp, didn't work. So he is out. Back to the headline. Fast and Furious 10, Gal Gadot. The reason why I said that is because now she's not
Right.
attached to the movie anymore. So now
Right.
she has time. Do you guys think this is enough, assuming it's a good script in the first place,
Mhm.
to bring a little more star power injected into the franchise?
I think it
Or
helps.
You think it'll help?
Yeah,
It'll be
I think
more
it
palatable?
helps.
Yeah,
Because she's established at this point. But she
Yeah.
was first in it, whatever, up and
Mhm.
coming, cool.
They could also maybe give her a bigger role, maybe more like the fourth movie,
Yeah.
the fourth Fast and Furious.
Like more pivotal, more important.
Oh, she was
Mhm.
she was in the fourth one.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah.
they introduced her.
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. So
I forgot.
I recently saw it. That's how I remembered.
Oh.
yeah, I knew she was in one of them, but I didn't know
Yeah.
which one. I was like,
Yeah.
it's after Tokyo Drift. That's all I know. But maybe before The Rock, because The Rock didn't show up to the fifth one, right?
Yeah, it was
Fast
the fifth
Five?
one he was introduced.
And John Cena's gonna be in this one too.
Dun, 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 dun. Again? After the ninth one?
But yeah, they introduced him in the 10th.
No, they introduced him in the ninth one.
Ninth?
10 is about to come out.
Oh, 10 is coming out. Yeah.
I know he was in the ninth one because I didn't watch it, but I will watch it at some point
Right.
if I need to get.
I think I
the
watched
10th one.
like parts of it. I don't think I watched it in full.
Is that right?
I have to catch up.
Yeah, you have to catch up. But it's expected to arrive in theaters on May 19th, 2023. And I'm like, that's a quick turnaround. Like, how long has she
Wait,
been
May
filming
this year? What did you say?
May 19th, 2023 is when the movie is expected to arrive. So I'm like, well, how
Well,
long has she been
they-
attached to the project?
I think they're filming, aren't they?
That's what it just says here, bro. It says expected to arrive in theaters May 19th, 2023,
But
bro.
no, they're filming it right now.
My point is that's a quick turnaround time. I'm sure they can do it. It's a big fucking studio.
Right.
But it's my understanding that most movies, especially at this,
Well, yeah,
for this caliber, they need at least like a
In May.
few months out to edit. Like if they're still in principal photography right now, they're not even doing reshoots or additional photography as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
If they're still doing all the principal stuff, like even if it's towards the end of the script or however they're shooting, I would think they need at least 3 months for post production, editing, and more importantly VFX if they're doing crazy set pieces or whatever they're doing.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like I think those houses need a little time with all the work that's being put out. But
Well, yeah,
I don't know.
definitely.
So I think I was like,
Yeah.
May sounds soon, especially if I'm just not reading a headline about her returning. Like, how long has she been involved in the project? How long has the script been done? Do they shoehorn her in? Things,
Maybe.
just questions we're asking. You know,
It's all about family.
as to say, you think
It's
this
all
one's gonna be
about
about
the
family?
It has to be.
It
About
has to be
family.
about, all about family.
It's the
all
ten.
about the family.
Do you think they're gonna milk a few more out? I know they had plans to go to like 12, 11 or maybe 12. But do you think this is gonna be like wrapping it up? Maybe one more after this?
I don't know. I'd like them to end it.
I was gonna ask you, are you rooting for this one to be good, or are you just rooting for the series to end?
Well, I'd like for it to be good, but
That's fair.
that's a tall task.
What
for
do you,
them.
what about you, Damon? You excited? You excited for Fast 10?
I don't know because I haven't seen the other two. So until I see,
Do you like the franchise as a whole, or
it's
it's a mixed bag for you? Well, talk to me here.
it's a
I like
bag.
3 or 4 of them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like about half of them too.
I
Yeah.
like. Well, I still have to see them all to like be confident because like maybe the 8th or 9th one I might like. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I guess we're gonna have to do some homework soon.
I know they're on like rocket ships and Star Wars in the 9th one, and they're just
That's what they're alluding to. I
and
don't know.
they're. I
We'll
remember
see.
like back in the 2000s, it was like a little tablet that was the future in your car, and then now we're like in the Avatar lands, like with flying cars and Rocket League. Crazy, man.
It's a crazy world we're living in, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The Hobbs and Shaw. I actually like that movie. That was like kind of like the newer like Fast and Furious universe movies.
For what it was.
For
You
I
think
feel
The Rock
like
is
for how
giving up on
tedious it
that?
was.
Dude, he's gonna have to revisit it after what happened with Black Adam. I'm
Right?
serious. No, he's gonna have to revisit it because
It was a good
one,
movie, Hobbs and Shaw.
But you think he can get it done with?
he can get it done with Jason Statham.
Well, with how?
The rivalry between him
yeah,
and
with him
Vin
and
Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
I would imagine, did he or did he not produce Hobbs and Shaw? Because I would imagine he has some amount of creative control.
Yeah, I figure he would.
Like if he was at least a producer, I feel like he could sling some weight around and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. Whatever, it's my deal."
How did Han survive?
Han?
Yeah, and that was in the.
They just showed him
9th,
walking
right?
out of a fucking like explosion, didn't it?
Yeah, did he have like the cybernetic
Enhancements?
enhancements that?
I don't think
the-
so. The Idris Elba had? No.
Yeah,
no.
Idris Elba.
No. I don't think he had all that. I should just go to the wiki and see who produced it.
It was a good movie.
I will say this: I was thoroughly entertained by it. I was like, okay, this movie's not taking itself too seriously.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
pure fucking.
When I saw The
fun.
Rock like holding 2 Jeeps in a helicopter, like
Dude,
with his 2
it's
bare
the
hands,
number one
like
pro-
I gave up. It's like I was like, just
You
you know.
just gave up.
He gave up. He gave up.
That's how he explained. Like
He
you're
gave
like
up.
buying into the movie.
Yeah.
Is that what broke him? Is that what broke you?
I,
You saw that?
I enjoyed it more.
That was towards the end
I'm
too.
too tired to buy into logic. Let's just go with this.
No, to answer your question, $7 Production is the top production. There's 2 production companies, that and Chris Morgan, whoever runs that. But yeah, that's Dwayne's company, man. So
Right.
if he wants to, he can throw another one on. They can make it work. They can make it work.
I like
Okay.
the Samoan representation in it.
Black and Samoan is
Very-
very.
So Vin Diesel isn't like tied to it at all.
I don't think
Dude,
so.
I'm sure he gets like a little
No.
kickback. The lawyers have it worked out, Big A. There's no way he doesn't get some sort of kickback, man. Like, let's see. Release the actual lawsuit. Let's talk about the lawsuit.
Oh man.
Neil H. Morris filed a lawsuit, breach of oral contract and pending promissory of his lead producer. That's boring. I don't care about that. Sequel. Oh, all creatives intending to create a sequel, and with conversations regarding the project ongoing by 2020, a sequel is officially confirmed by Johnson to be in development. The creative team not yet decided. It's active development. April. Someone is officially hired as the screenwriter. Chris Morgan. 2021. The original the antithesis. What is that supposed to mean? Okay, well, that's how they're talking about it. It's very ambitious. It's in the works. It sounds like it's already in the works. The wheels are spinning. You're gonna get your sequel, gentlemen.
It's gonna be a great movie.
It's gonna be a fantastic
Great movie.
because
of
The Rock can't
2023.
afford it not to be.
Exactly.
Got to keep this lavish lifestyle.
Well, I don't
going.
know. He worked on Black Adam for like 15 years.
He worked on it. I don't know. That feels like 3 different scripts. We can get into it, but I don't feel like getting into it.
Did he actually?
That thing felt
Yeah.
like a hodgepodge of movies. It did. And I was like,
Yeah, it was a lot of things.
It was a lot of different things, and not in a good way, and kind of
No.
like a disjointed way. Anyway, let's take a small break, and let's come back and let's do some trailers, y'all. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and we're back. We have let's see, the Oppenheimer trailer. Let's start with that then. All right, let's get right into it, gamers. Whoa. Dang. Did you feel the gravitas in that trailer, Big Apple? Did you?
Yeah.
Did you, Damien? That was wicked, bro. No, so basically we just saw the Oppenheimer trailer, and it's very just a dramatic retelling of, well, the movie's gonna be a dramatic retelling of Oppenheimer and how he helped develop the first nuclear bomb. that the
Yeah.
US
So
developed.
they didn't know what was gonna happen. They just knew it was a really
Well,
big bomb.
They had an idea of what was happening. The actual scientists involved, I mean, he literally says it, like, you know, they, meaning like the world and the general population and perhaps even the government, won't understand it until they use it, and then, you know, whatever.
Right.
They won't. And the whole other line he said that was really badass. But basically, like, he had an idea of it, but you don't know what you're playing with until you unleash the dragon, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
And so all the drama that goes in there. It was interesting seeing familiar faces, like what's his face
Josh
from The
Peck.
Boys? Josh Peck. That surprised me.
Yeah.
I was like, give him some dramatic work, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because he can't act. He can. He can.
Yeah.
He can't. He's not.
Yeah.
He's more than just comedy. He can act. But and then who's that guy from The Boys? I know he's the son of some Hollywood person. Huey.
Huey.
Le
Yeah.
Petit
Oh
Huey.
yeah, that guy.
He's
Jack.
also in this.
Yeah, he
something.
was in it.
Jack. Jack Quaid,
Jack Wade.
son of
Jack
a bitch. I'm kidding. Of someone else in Hollywood. Born to Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid. There you go. Another. Wow, that's another guy.
Dennis
He was
Quaid.
Right Stuff. Inner Space. Great ball.
He's
Anyway.
his son.
Yeah, that's his son.
Oh.
Nepotism. It's a thing in every industry, but also Hollywood.
No way.
Meg Ryan as well. So anyway, that's him. And dude, the trailer looks super dramatic, and those visuals, my
Mhm.
goodness. I remember reading a headline where Nolan was like, "It was difficult, but we actually made like a mushroom cloud, like practically."
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He wanted to blow up an actual bomb.
You know, they weren't gonna let him do that, but
Yeah.
he would if he could. I'm sure he would have loved to.
Oh yeah, he found like a practical way of.
Yeah, of
Of
showing,
showing
the
that,
effect
yeah.
without actually detonating a nuke. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. You think it's like miniatures or something?
No, not miniature nukes, but like bombs for sure. There's
No,
a
but
way you
like-
can do it.
Like a miniature
Oh, like set.
set. Yeah.
That's a good question. In my heart of hearts, I feel like he did like something like a
Right.
low yield actual bomb,
Yeah.
or
But
like
maybe like on a miniature set.
you think?
So that way you wouldn't have like a bigger effect.
I feel like you can make a convincing looking mushroom cloud, and like let's say the height of it's only maybe like 30 to 100 feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you use like a low amount of whatever they use, some sort of combination of chemicals, whatever, just to
Yeah.
make the practical effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but maybe miniatures were used. I just thought the visuals were sick. Like I hope like that wasn't just trailer stuff and that we actually see that in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
it looks
that
spectacular.
shot of what's his name?
Uh,
Cillian Murphy.
yeah.
With the metal behind him.
Oh yeah. That thing, that little demon core that they're
Mhm.
putting together right there, which is tight.
I don't know. I think for a movie about bombs, no better director than Michael Bay. So
You got me there, Damon. You got me there. Michael Bay
How
should
would
have
you
handled
feel
all
if
the
Michael Bay
explosions.
He makes it go boom.
He makes it go boom. Michael Bay would have used a real nuke.
I-
He doesn't settle for that bitch shit.
It would have been like the first ever movie with a real nuke. That would have been historically
A tactical
awesome.
nuke goes off, it gets approved by the government and shit. Like, we only get one take, y'all. We have like 18 cameras rolling.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be sick.
I think Robert Downey Jr. is in this too.
You're capping.
Yeah.
Really?
No, he's
Well,
not in the trailer.
Well,
Maybe he
maybe
plays
he's-
Einstein. Just kidding. No. Oppenheimer. Cast. J. Robert Oppenheimer. He was great on epic rap battles of history, let me tell you. Just kidding.
Yeah, there it is. Robert Downey Jr.
No way. Bro, this is stacked. Florence Pugh. I don't know who
Yep.
David Krumholtz is. Emily Blunt, Cillian Murphy, Gary Oldman, RDJ, Matt Damon, Kenneth Branagh, Jack Quaid, Rami Malek. Josh. He even got a Skarsgård. What the fuck, dude? This movie did not need Scott Grimes, bro. Oh wait, that's a different Josh. I thought that was Josh Peck. This is Josh Hartnett.
No,
Oh, Casey Affleck.
Casey Affleck.
Look,
Dude,
man,
what the? What
look,
else?
Tron
And this is his first movie after leaving Warner Bros. He's now at Universal.
Who?
Christopher Nolan
Really?
Yeah.
So he was tied down at where before?
at Warner Brothers.
Okay,
But
that
remember, they started putting all the movies on HBO Max instead of having
Mm.
the theatrical release.
That's right. Yeah.
And all because of that, he decided to part ways.
He was like, I make theater,
Yeah.
not streaming. Yeah, I understand. Well, listen, he's obviously one of the GOATs, so this is gonna be freaking spectacular. I'm looking forward to it. It was a badass little trailer.
Yeah.
And
Dude, they have a giant poster at the theater.
mhm.
Of that
Of that shot we just saw.
yeah, that with the explosion behind him, he's just like standing with his hands in his pocket.
Like that, just this blown up.
Yeah. And they have like a giant timer counting down to the day it comes out.
No way. That's a cool display.
That's tight.
Hey, it says it's shot with IMAX film cameras. Worth
Mhm.
it in IMAX, Big A, you think? Go for the spectacle?
Oh yeah, for
Hell
a movie
yeah.
about explosions.
Yeah, I want to see a nuke in IMAX, bro. That's wicked, bro. Oh, okay, they're talking to each other. Sorry. No, so that was the Barbie cheesy trailer. What'd y'all think, gentlemen? What'd you think of the 2001 Space Odyssey parody? What'd you think of the tone?
I'm liking it.
I'm liking it.
It looks
I
pretty.
think it'll be a
pretty
funny
interesting.
movie.
If it's over the top and fun,
Yeah.
and it has even some social commentary, but all in the right ways and done well, I think it'll be a smash hit.
I think it's
It'll
just like
be really good.
a celebrity for fun movie. Like they're not trying to win anything with this. you know?
Definitely not an Oscar.
I
I don't think they're gonna get a nomination.
It
with it.
might be
A sleeper
compelling
Oscar?
story.
Really?
Maybe that's true. It could be.
Really?
It could be.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of mindless fun, but we haven't had a proper trailer, so it's like, what is the plot?
It
You know
was
what I
just
mean?
a teaser, to be fair.
Yeah, it was just a teaser.
Yep.
But it looks fantastic.
It looks like they're gonna have musical beats.
I was gonna say it looks a little
Yeah.
show tuney. So like maybe they're gonna have they're gonna break out into actual singing numbers, not just dancing. Like you know what I mean? So could be interesting. Could be fun.
Yep.
I liked it. When does it come out again? It's July of what, next year?
21st, yeah.
Oh well,
Next
that's pretty soon. Yep, July 21st, and of course next year, based on Barbie. Nice. Let's go. Should we get into our top 5 movies of 2022, Big Apple? Should we close out the year with a list before
Yeah.
the last review?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Before we get into it, is Avatar 2 in your top 5 list?
I didn't even think about that one.
It counts. If towards the year, not towards your top 5.
No, I'm gonna say no.
That's fine. All right. So then we'll just get into it. We'll get into it. Should we start with yours first? Or do you want to do like 5 and 5, 4 and 4, 3 and 3, 2 and 2?
Yeah, sure. Mine's not exactly in order.
But more loosely in order?
Yeah, somewhat.
Let's hear about it. Let's talk about loosely your number 5th pick, and then you can get in on this. if you
Yeah.
want.
All right,
So
bet.
You first, brother.
okay.
Let's hear
so
about it.
yeah, I put Nope.
Okay.
Um,
So why did that make it to the list for you, good sir?
I like the concepts that it went for,
Mhm.
and the acting was good. Cinematography from it, yeah.
I'll say it was a very technically well-made movie. Like it was
Mhm.
like the most budget we've seen him play with as a director.
Mhm.
Peele, right? Jordan Peele.
Yeah, Jordan Peele.
And it was very technically well done, and the concept was interesting. For some reason, it could have been because I was a little preoccupied during the movie. Maybe I should rewatch it again and like focus the entire time. But I was there for like 95% of it. And
Wait, what'd you have going on?
remember when I was texting that one chick, and then I had to go out and FaceTime her?
Okay.
So I'm a little
Yeah.
biased there. So
True,
I'll
true.
cut it a little slack. But when I saw the ending, and I was like, it didn't really land for me. Like I got it. Like she did the thing. She got the photograph. She's gonna make a bunch
Yeah.
of money and all that. But I don't know. Maybe I was just missing like the subliminal messages and like the themes and all that. But it just didn't like stick with me. I wasn't like,
Yeah.
wow, like this is crazy. But then there's an argument to be made like, hey, does everything you have to do blow everybody out of the water? Or can you just make dope films that he feels like making? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad it worked for you. How do you feel about it being in his top 5 list? Did you like Nope? You saw it, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. What if you had a top 5 list prepared? Would it be in it? Let's ask
Nope.
that. No, it wouldn't be in it. Nope.
Oh wait, let me think. Not the name. But,
No, I know what you mean.
would it be my
Sure about
top
that?
5? I think because I noticed Barbarian was in your top 5,
It is.
and then
it
like
is.
Oh, okay.
comparing them both, and I was like, I kind of liked. I liked the monster in Nope
Mm-hmm.
but in Barbarian, it just had a different tone. Like you were always on your like heels.
Mm-hmm.
The movie kind of knew like a fine line of like this was the enemy, and like it kind of like built up a lot of suspense. And like the other movie did that too, but it was just kind of like a PG-13 way of kind of going about it.
It felt like the connections were a lot looser, whereas everything felt a little more
Yeah,
intentional with Barbarian
and a little
for
bit of the
me.
logic in Nope
Mm.
too was kind of like they clarified it, and then they would like kind of go back on it. Like don't break eye contact with the animal, and it won't like give up, and like he survived at the end. You know.
Right. Yeah, to me, Barbarian is number 5 for me because it's just I generally don't like those kinds of films anyway. I mean, it's not just pure gore and blood, but like the
Yeah.
thrillery kind of scary or type of movies. I feel
Uh-huh.
like Barbarian did a better job for my money, just being a little more like tighter in terms of like script and like, oh, we're jumping. It feels like we're jumping, but like there's a purpose. Like we're jumping to Stephen Lang's character, right? That was his name, right? Or am I thinking of someone else? Justin Lang?
Justin Long.
Justin
Justin
Long.
Long,
There it
yeah.
is. Justin Long's character. Why is he there? And then it's
Right,
kind of
right.
funny too. Why is this movie kind of funny? But it works. Like it doesn't take away from the horror or thriller elements of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a more satisfying ending to me because there was like a more human like enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed it for what it was. I wasn't expecting it to go off the way it did with like the cinematography and like the good dialogue and like the plot threads that got weirder and weirder, and
Mhm.
there was so many layers to it that it didn't need to have, but it did. So I appreciated that. There was a lot of nuance there for me. So that's why it's in my top 5. That's number 5 for me. What's your number 4, Big Apple? Let's hear it.
4, I put the Northman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's on my list too somewhere.
I never went
Yeah.
to go see it with y'all.
I want to
never saw it?
rewatch it because I don't remember a whole lot, but
Mhm.
I know it was like really, like I like the cinematography again, and I like the whole arc that he had. Where
Right.
it was like,
No. Can I jump in?
yeah.
So
jump in.
no.
I'm trying to think of
I
it,
agree
like,
with you because it's
how to
number 3
phrase
on
it.
my list. So like I agree with you. Like
Yeah.
what I appreciated was cinematography went off. The color grade was dope. But like the story that he builds from him having to like basically didn't he have to like camouflage himself or like exile himself and not seem like a warrior like
Mhm.
he is by nature, and he's got like that wolf blood in him. There's a whole like mystical spiritual kind of thing
Right,
going
yeah.
on there. So like kind of
Yeah,
like
I
the
like
chosen one.
the deep like Norse mythology that they put into it.
Full display
Mhm.
so I love that. And then just like the unlikely ally he finds in the other slave girl, was it Anna something?
Anya
No.
Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor-Joy, that's who it was. And there was like themes there, and her fighting back at her like handler or whatever, and the Christians being persecuted, just all this awesome like history rich like lore
Yeah.
that also is heightened too. And it just gets ridiculous by the end. It was like there was like that crazy lava fight they had
Yeah,
where they fought to the
that's
death.
right.
I was like, what is this Star Wars stuff? But it was just an entertaining, like almost epic of sorts. I was like, this is really cool. So I was thoroughly impressed with it, and that's why it was on my
Nice.
list.
So is Thor: Love and Thunder in any of y'all's?
No, it is not.
No.
I forgot that came out this year. It was such a forgettable movie. There was only 3 Thor movies. Okay, there wasn't a 4th one. What's your number 3 spot, big man? Talk to me there.
3.
Well, I
Wait,
guess I
so
skipped
what
over
was
my
your
4.
yeah, what was
I
your
skipped
4?
over my 4. My bad.
Yeah.
My number 4 was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, okay, you have that at 4.
I have that at 4 because it wasn't like, how do I put this? It was a very good movie in terms of the message, but it was also super creative. Like it really felt like a film festival type movie, but on crack and feature length.
Yeah.
And I love how scrappy it was. I like the backstory of how like it was like 6 dudes on VFX and just like self-taught, like very pull yourself up by bootstraps kind of deal. Like it had some funding I think from like 22 Films or whoever it was, but like it's not a $300 million movie, right? You know what I mean? It's very much like a reasonable-ish amount. I thought it was really great. Standout performances, good themes. It was it's number 4 because like it felt a little long on the tooth by the end with like the 5 acts or whatever they had, and just how like it kept taking turns. I was like, it's kind of overstaying its welcome a little bit here, but they took up their space and it was fun and they did a lot and it was super creative and I really enjoyed it. So it's number 4. Yeah, what's your number 3? I guess
Number
right?
3, I have Bullet Train.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised I made the list for you.
That was a good
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I don't remember the review, but
I just had like a really fun time watching it.
So you were entertained.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I liked like the small stories that they gave to like the water bottle.
Yeah.
And like
that was
like
awesome.
the ridiculousness that they put toward the movie. For me, and I like the action.
Yeah.
well.
It was satisfying, and honestly, it's an honorable mention for me because it didn't make it into my top 5. But that was very satisfying to watch. Like It wasn't perfect or anything, but I had so much fun watching it. And like you said, all the small little details they gave to it was really entertaining.
Yeah.
Sequel? Have
I
they said
think
anything?
there's room
There's room for it,
to
right?
make one. Yeah.
I say why not?
With
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? A bullet boat?
Ladybug. Right?
Oh yeah. You're talking about the handler and
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brad
yeah.
Pitt's
Why
character.
not? Screw
Yeah.
it. Why not? Maybe I could see his actual who he stepped in for, whoever that character was.
Oh,
Ryan
right,
Reynolds
Ryan
played. I could see
Reynolds.
him stepping in and adding a
Yeah.
little more star juice to it if he wanted to.
My number 4 spot is Sonic 2.
Oh yeah, that came out
Okay.
this year. How did you feel as a whole of that
I
movie,
haven't
Damon?
seen it.
Better without spoiling it, better or on par with the first
It
movie?
was amazing, big.
What do you think, Damon? Better or on par with the first Sonic?
I
You s-
think it was about the same.
About the same. Yeah, so about on par. Yeah, it was about the
It
same.
was about
It was about the same. But it was still entertaining.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey gave the performance of a lifetime in his Dr. Eggman.
Yeah.
I
Last
think he was
performance.
Last
funnier
one, bro.
in this one because like he actually like, not to say like he didn't have like a direction with the character, in terms of
Mhm.
like jokes, keeping it PG.
Mhm.
But like this one, it just they let him be more like
Yeah,
himself.
they
So-
they loosened the reins a little bit on him.
Mm.
He
So
let go a
it-
little
he was
more.
a little bit more funnier in the second one.
Yeah,
so-
he looked more like the character in this one, right?
Yeah, there had to be a
Yeah.
little evolution because he's like, I'm not doing a fat suit or whatever. And I was like, all right, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think we talked about it. Yeah, my number 3 is already Northman, so we could skip on to that.
Right,
You
right.
want to talk about your number 2?
No, you go first.
I'll go first. It's
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick, my guy.
Top
Top Gun Maverick, and I know
alright.
I know you didn't like it. I know you didn't like it, but much like Bullet Train was for you,
Yeah.
it didn't have to make perfect sense. Like it was just entertainment the whole way through. It was like the best possible roller coaster ride
Yeah.
that I felt like at the time.
Yeah,
'Cause
no.
I didn't expect anything from it as a sequel. I'm like, what are you gonna do with Top Gun 2? Like, fight some jets? Okay, great. Well, but this, to me, there was like a little bit of a compelling story in that, like, there was a lot of parallels between him in real life and him as a Maverick, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, you're washed out. No one fights these planes anymore, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's all the way of drones in the future, right?
Right.
And then he still had to fly one last man mission because only he could do it, right? But he also had to train people. He wasn't even going to fly it originally. He was going to train people to do it. He was going to train like these top students or whatever. And then they brought in the
Mhm.
legacy thing with Goose's son, being
Rooster.
around. Rooster. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, being in the conflict between them and their backstory, and then Iceman and all that. Like they spun something that like had no right having like thought put into it, but they did,
Mhm.
and so it made sense for a lot of people. And then it tracked. They had this very satisfying montage. They had a very satisfying, epic like last battle, and they kept pulling it out for you, and they kept raising the stakes and raising the stakes. It was just a fun ride, and then the IMAX shots were great, and I just thought, I was like, man, this is a spectacular movie to watch in 2022. He knows what he's doing. He's like.
Yeah.
He's like if The Rock liked acting more. That's Tom
Yes.
Cruise. He's the
Yes.
last
Messed
true
up,
movie
man.
star. I mean, have you seen the promos for Mission Impossible 7 or whatever?
Yeah.
Like all that crazy stunt jump with the bike and
Dead
into
Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning part 1. Yeah.
Yeah, part 1.
I mean, this dude loves his craft.
Mhm.
Call him crazy, call him whatever, but when it comes to entertaining people, he knows how to do that. And so I got to give respects to Top Gun Maverick.
Nice.
For
Highest
sure.
grossing movie of this year.
What's your number 2, Big A?
2, I have the Batman.
I knew you would have it up there.
Batman.
Yeah.
You loved Batman.
Dude, it's
Tell me about
it's
it.
like exactly what Batman is in the comics, or at least like the iterations that I'm familiar with.
Sure.
I just like the form of the story.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect. Like I said, technically well made. It's a bit dark at times, but it fits, I guess, for Gotham and Batman.
Uh-huh.
And it worked. I like the adventure that they went on, but I don't know. Part of it just didn't like. I was never fully engaged with it in the way that like say maybe the Nolan films were, and those were more like big budgety superhero typey kind of like traditional superhero, like early 2000s / that kind of superhero feel to it.
Yeah.
So it was never as gritty and as dark. It was alluded to, right? But it was still it felt very big budgety and whatever. Whereas
Right.
this one felt like more film noir, how they were going for that, and just more like
Right, yeah.
understated and subdued, but still amazing cinematography. There's some cool shots in there. There's a lot of thought put into it.
Mhm.
So I'm looking forward to see what they do next with it. But it wasn't a bad start to me, but it wasn't like blew my socks off. I was just like, oh, okay, this is a new take on it that I'm not familiar with, but
Yeah.
it's
Nice.
still good. But yeah, didn't make my list for that reason.
Y'all ain't
Yeah,
gonna-
I liked what it was setting up. And
And that's what I think it's gonna shine. is
yeah.
what it comes next.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good setup. All right, I gotta hear your number 1 because I think you already know mine.
Wait, what about my number 2?
What's
bro?
your number 2, bro? Sorry,
what's your
I didn't
number
know you had a
2?
list.
Yeah.
You're just winging it.
He's making it up on
Is
the
it
fly.
on the
I'm
fly?
making it up.
Okay, what's number 2, bro? What's number 2?
Elvis.
Elvis. Let's
okay.
talk about it.
I
Why
really
is it
liked
number
it.
2?
You really liked it, huh?
You like Baz
Did you like
Luhrmann.
Tom Hanks?
No.
You did. He's like, that
I
was the
didn't
weak
like how
part.
fat they made him. I mean, I get he was playing the manager. He just looked weird to me. But
It
Elvis,
did look weird.
it was a pretty good like documentary, like but like movie style about his life.
Mm-hmm.
At least what they could learn about it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
With all due respect, they couldn't show him like dying on the can.
Oh,
Right.
They could-
Yeah, it
like
would be
his
in poor
last, like they
taste.
put him in the fat suit. He's barely standing playing the piano, and that was the last you kind of see of him.
yeah.
And like they just allude to his death afterwards. But like,
Right.
like I remember in HEB, like they had like a Time magazine. I read like what happened, detail by detail.
Oh my god.
I was like,
Lay it on us. What happened?
this
Is it that bad?
It was like an overdose, like
Right,
on
right.
medication,
Yep.
and like he was also constipated too. So
Right, right.
he had a bad diet. he
Yeah,
was
that
overweight,
typically happens
so he was overdosing on medicine.
When what?
when you overdose, or
When you're
when a
constipated?
person dies of overdose. Like yeah.
I thought like overdoses could be from anything. It's literally an overdosage of any pill. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're constipated, does it?
No. I don't know, maybe I
Constipated means you
misread
can't
or
shit,
something.
bro.
So no, yeah, so
Yeah, I know. I know what it is.
I think
Okay.
it
But like
was-
the body gets constipated when somebody has an overdose.
yeah, I
that
think
could be true.
I think he was having
Yeah.
like a stroke from like the medication or an overdose.
Because I know that when you die, I guess like let's say you're shot like in the head or
Yeah.
whatever, like your bowel's empty because your muscles stop holding it in.
Mm.
But I thought he was constipated from his awful diet of
That-
peanut butter,
that-
banana,
that
jelly
had a
sandwiches,
factor
or
in it,
whatever,
too.
and like burgers and steaks and shit.
I mean, I don't know. It could be all of the
Could be all. I think it was a combination of
Yeah.
all that. But other than his death, the movie was good.
The movie was great.
There you
I
go.
loved it.
I enjoyed some aspects of it. Like the music parts were hopefully as they
Definitely
should be.
Austin Butler.
Yeah.
His performance was good.
Yeah,
It was good. It was. I believed him as
Yeah.
Elvis.
It was
I
a
like,
good movie.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I'd like the weird narrator from his manager and like.
Yeah, I don't
Am
like
I
that.
a bad guy? I don't know. It's just like
Yeah, I don't like that accent either.
I was like, I don't know about this one, Walter. So I don't
Yeah.
know. For that reason, I'm out. But let's hear our number ones. Let's start with Big Apple.
Yeah, mine's Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Why so high in your list?
I mean I like the storytelling. I like the multiverse aspects.
Sure.
It was a better like multiverse movie than
Doctor
like
Strange too?
Doctor Strange was.
Word.
And I think I like the message that it sent. Like
Sure.
as a it wasn't exactly like a religious movie, but it had like viewpoints that you can like build a better belief system around.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Especially
Yeah.
with the differences of the daughter and the mother, like from the worldviews and their perspectives and how
Mhm.
those collide, right? And how they came to an understanding
Yeah.
eventually. So yeah, it's a pretty universal message, I'd say. Pretty
Yeah.
good. Probably why it did so well.
Yeah.
Among the other things. What about you? Number one. Number one.
Let's say it together,
2022.
broski.
Black Adam.
Avatar, The Way of Water.
The Way of Water. That's right, Walter. That's right.
Do you have Black Adam in your list still?
Number 6.
It's number one in my DC list.
Okay. In your DC
Yeah,
list?
wait, what came out this year for DC?
Batman, Black
Oh,
Adam.
just of this year?
Batman and Black
of this
Adam.
It beats Black Man. It beats Batman every day of the week. Every day of the week. That's awesome. Damon, you want to elaborate why Avatar 2 is at the top of your list a little bit before we get into the trailer?
Because man, I walked into that theater, I walked out a different person.
A different person, big game.
I
is
really
that right?
understood at the end of the movie. Solely stick together.
Totally stick together, Walter.
Is that better than Family?
I like this.
It's more endearing than
Yeah. I like
all
the
about the
central
family.
message of like
It
it was
is.
about the
Yeah.
family, and like it kind of was leaking into a where like that Thor Ragnarok trope of Asgard is the home of the people, and like same
Oh
thing
yeah,
with-
it's not a place. It's
and I was
people.
thinking like Avatar, like yeah, it's like we like the family is basically the
Wakanda Forever.
yeah.
It's kind of on the same. No.
Is it?
They weren't like
That's a lot of death in the family in that one.
Well, yeah, no. In the movie, I'm talking about
the-
their phrase.
Oh,
Wakanda
Forever.
Yeah,
Are you
how
saying
they
they're
use
referring to
it.
the people, or are you saying they're
No,
referring to
how they use the phrase Wakanda,
Wakanda
Forever
Forever is used like what? What are you trying to draw?
Like Sully stick together or
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's
family.
true because it's more about
Uh,
but to me that feels like more like a society than just one specific family. You know what I mean? Whereas
Well,
like
yeah, it is definitely pertaining to a larger group, but I think it also holds like the same.
I guess message.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah,
of like love.
it's a big family.
Yeah,
Very big family.
community.
But it's the same idea. It's the
Um,
community
right.
aspect,
but I
Especially
liked
after the like
the
the death.
passing, and
Yeah.
of course,
I liked what they did with the world building. Like they took like thankfully I rewatched the first movie
Yeah, to
and
get some
like
context. Yeah.
it filled in a lot of the background info that I didn't pay attention to when I first saw it. But they were even like world building off of like that. So
Mhm.
like thankfully the movie like built so much that like the second movie could like happen for a long time.
Well,
So
good. Well,
I liked it. I liked it.
I'm
I
glad
like
you
the
said
new
that.
worlds and I'm ready to see if we'll go to like new ones. you know?
Well, let's get into the review, shall we?
So yours is Avatar as well.
Yeah, and we're
Number
gonna
one?
we're gonna talk about why once I get into this review.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Walter.
I see.
Wait.
That's how you set up the list.
That's how we set up the list, baby. No, it was actually unintentional, but
Okay.
if it works, it works. So let's get into the Avatar 2 review, gentlemen.
Gotcha.
I'll give us a little bit of an intro. So our main man, James Cameron, is back, and we're getting back into the world of Pandora after a 12-year hiatus.
I know.
You were how old when the first one came out? 6?
2009.
Yeah.
6 years old?
Like
I was like
wait, what
10.
month did it come out?
Yeah.
I believe it was December as well. I think
Yeah,
it was.
6.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
I don't even
Did you guys see it in theater? In the theater?
I did.
I
I
did.
did see it in theaters. I saw it in 3D.
we saw it like
I was like, oh, I was freaking
I didn't
out.
see it until like Redbox. Like in like I think
I was
like, a
freaking
year
out.
I don't
later.
think I saw it until like a year later on TV.
You know, I definitely won't say I saw it opening weekend because I probably didn't, but I remember seeing it in theaters.
Mhm.
I was like, whoa, it was cool. But yeah, we're back. We're back to the world of Pandora after a 12-year hiatus, and in it we find our main man, Jake Sully, and Atiri, having made 3 children as well as adopting one. For reasons we'll get into, Jake and his family exile themselves from the Amodakaya. I think that's how you say that clan, the Jungle Clan.
I'm not sure.
I think it's a Mordecai. Anyway, they're now living in the Hallelujah Mountains, and they retreat to the Metcaina Reef People clan on Pandora's eastern seaboard. Pretty much what we're getting into.
East.
I mean, right off the busy bat, let me tell you, man, this movie, I'm getting technical with it. Holy schmackaroonies, did it look amazing. I mean, I saw it, and we saw it in 3D the first night. You saw it, what did you see the first time?
The first time was regular AVX. I think.
Gotcha.
So it was
Gotcha.
just audio improvement.
Got it. And then we saw it in 3D together, and then we went again. We saw it in the high frame rate. Woo! And high frame rate 3D.
Yeah.
Boy, that was spicy.
That
Those action scenes were
different.
like crisp,
Mhm.
crisp, my guy. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. But it visually, my guy, you can tell the technology has advanced because
Yeah.
James Cameron's talking about how they had twice the fidelity. They had like 2 HD cameras on everyone's face now, so there's a lot more subtleties and like all this crazy stuff that was going on with the face capture.
Mhm.
And then develop like custom 3D cameras, and of course the challenge of shooting underwater. Like vast majority of this movie shot underwater, so technical marvel. And in some ways, the film feels like a little bit of a demo of what's to come. You know what I mean? Like the movie does a lot of different things, but one of the big things is like, look at what we have and what we can do going forward, and also welcome back to the world of Pandora. Let's do some more world building, and let's tease what's to come, because it feels like it does both of those things really well.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, did the visuals blow you away like it may have in 2009, or was it just diet to you?
I don't know. I don't know how it would have affected me had I seen it on the big screen
Good
for
point.
the first one. But
Good point.
definitely this one, like the first time I saw it, it was a little hard to get into at first. I think it was probably the higher frame rate.
In the first movie, or
the first part of the way of water.
Oh, I see.
Way
Did you
Water
watch
one.
it in high frame rate the first time you saw it?
Well, no, because they changed frame rates depending on the shot.
That's true. Yeah,
But
yeah.
and I think when it focused on the avatars in the beginning, there was a little bit of like buying into like the scale of everything, I guess.
Yeah.
That my eyes had to get adjusted to. And
That's
so
fair.
after that, like everything was like good. And then watching it in 3D the second time, it was like it was crisper, like you were saying. Like, it felt more immersive.
Yeah, I felt vibrant too. Like, it felt like the colors were popping, and like,
Yeah.
and especially when things were like in the foreground, out of focus, you're like, whoa, get out of my face. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How did you vibe with it? Was there any difference between the first and second showing? Technically, like as far as how it looked and
The
stuff.
first time we saw it, it was just normal 3D,
It was normal
right?
3D. Yeah,
I
no high
was
frame
I
rate.
was still like blown away for the first time. Like when
Mhm.
they went underwater, I was like,
Yeah.
bro, because like they're like the fishes is what got me. They like swim like in the corner, and I'd be like,
Very immersive. Very
no,
immersive.
yeah, but like being underwater in the 3D, that was like the best thing you could like pick. Like that and space, underwater and space are like the best things in 3D. You know,
Mm.
like yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Yeah. No. I guess we should get a little bit into that plot. Did you guys see? Spoilers. We're getting into spoilers. Did you guys see that twist coming with Korg coming back in the Avatar's body? Because I sure as shit didn't. I
The
didn't know
colonel?
what the. I don't think
What's
it's technically a colonel. I think
what is he?
I don't know what his rank
Commander?
is. I can look it up. Let's see. But I just know that
You're
he.
talking about the villain, right?
Yeah, the villain, Mr. Cowboy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's wrong?
No, I said, did you guys see him coming back at all? As like just as an antagonist, you know what I
As an
mean?
antagonist.
Yeah, Miles Courage.
No, I think it was rumored like a while back that that was part of James Cameron's plan
Mhm.
to have him be reborn into a Avatar.
I didn't follow that. I wanted to go in blind to the plot.
Yeah, well, yeah, I had heard something about it like 2 years ago,
Mhm.
I think, and so I kind of had that like in the back of my head, but
Yeah.
I didn't like.
It's
I wasn't
necessarily,
sure
yeah,
if it was gonna happen.
pan out or whatever. Yeah, I only mentioned that because it's pretty right out of the gate. Like we catch up with them 10 years later, the kids and all that, haha, chi chi, and then a new star appears in the sky, and RDA is back, and they're
Yeah.
meaner and badder and all that. They set things up. It's next generation. I mean, I got like, I don't know, some Star Wars vibes from the way that ship was coming down. There was
Yeah,
just fire
for sure.
everywhere. I mean, cinema, like it was crazy. I was like,
yeah.
whoa. So they seemed menacing. They roll out. A year goes by. They're already putting up a city with their own atmosphere. You know, like
Yeah.
all this crazy world building stuff. They're talking about those little robots that can build a building in 6 days. All this crazy stuff.
Yep.
And of course, Korich is back, and he literally basically watches like the first one through his memory files and through like that little conversation they have, and
Right.
he's basically out to get Jake Sully again. And you know, once they find that out, all bets are off. I mean, after the little train, the bullet train sequence, and then, you know, all that, you find out about the kids and stuff. He's like, we got to leave town. We got to skedaddle, and then the strife there and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
what did you make of all that intro, that first third coming back?
I liked how the movie flowed.
Mhm.
They had a direction like after every scene was important and
Mhm.
like played into like something in the future.
Right.
And they weren't like this big overview like, oh, we gotta fight them to take them down, and they were just dreading that the whole movie. No, it was like each action they did like caused another, like, you know, like cause and effect basically.
Sure.
And they all had their own like little side stories throughout the movie too, and then like towards the end they kind of just all combine into one,
One big final show.
like one
Yeah.
big final
Yeah.
showdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty cool to see like all like
Mhm.
when it all comes together as one. You're like, oh, like all this world building and all this setting up and storytelling. You know, it paid off like in a big like end game
Yeah.
tribute kind of.
Yeah. No, and on that note, it's like before we even get to the water people, there's so much setup happening. I mean, there's those we got to find out about Kiri, which is Grace's the scientist, Sigourney Weaver's scientist character.
Right.
And that's her immaculate conception for some reason.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
They make fun and they poke fun of who the dad could be and blah 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 blah. But
Yeah.
it's pretty much insinuated that Awa planted the seed, right? The spirit tree.
Yeah.
And then bam, out comes Kiri, who has a weird connection to nature and anything
yeah.
that she can interact with. Like
Mhm.
so, that's kind of teased and explored in the movie. They have like a glean of epilepsy. There's the whole spider of it all. Korch's son,
Yeah. The Luke
Skywalker and Darth Vader
equivalent.
route that they're going. You know, like what's up with that? I like how there's an additional layer of gray and complexity because even they say as much like I'm not your dad, I'm a clone of him. Like I'm a different person, and I like that they're going that route. You know?
Yeah.
So it's not so like cut and cookie cutter. It's just like there's gray to it, and you can tell that they're struggling. Those two characters are struggling with that throughout the whole movie, having to work together after the kids are caught at the old facility, the old lab where the final fight happened in the first movie. They
Right.
catch us up there, which I appreciated. There's just a lot of gray there, and it's fun seeing them explore that throughout the movie. Did you like that dynamic? Was it doing it for you? Was it
I thought
whatever?
it was interesting. I guess it really boils down to like it felt more like setup for
Sure.
the next movie or whenever they actually fill out that arc.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was like interesting.
Yeah.
That they would put that in.
And I like how it's not the end all be all of stuff because there's plenty of other side things going on. There's the whole older brother, younger brother dynamic, Jake Sully's kids.
Right.
And what that means, like the good, perfect older brother versus his troublemaker little brother, and like the roles and duties of all that. And I should have seen it coming with how little lack of screen time the older brother got, but he totally gets got. And it's funny because they tease that out the whole movie. They tease it at the bullet train. They tease it when the kids get caught in the jungle. He had a knife to my kid's neck. Like the whole movie, that's what they're afraid of. And it's like they say at the end, the little motif, like the Sully sticking together is the greatest weakness and the greatest strength and all that. So I know I'm jumping around a bit, but there's just so many like things that are being set up, and not just with the family, just like the lore, the whaling. They pivoted away from unobtainium.
Right.
Did you like that? Was it for better or for worse?
Honestly, I didn't remember unobtainium from the first movie.
Fair.
So for me, like that didn't that wasn't a glaring like thing that came to mind.
Sure.
But I don't know. Like they kind of shoehorned in that new resource that they get from the whale.
Right.
What was it called?
I think it was like it was some goofy name. Was it GI or?
It's just
some
basically
goofy name.
immortal serum.
Yeah, it's basically stops human aging like completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this movie actually set up a lot when I think about it. Like they set up that immunity serum of what the people are after too. So they're gonna even drain this world even more of its resources.
Right.
They set up what's his name? That kid Spider.
They
adopted him basically as one of their own now. So based on how much they time skipped in the second one, what's stopped them from skipping another like 10 years in the third one?
I think they're gonna not do as many time skips because they filmed 3 and 4 back to back. So
yeah, James Cameron didn't want the kids to
do the Strangers thing throughout. Yeah, Bloke 27 or whatever. Yeah, but there's still a lot going on, and I like it. It's never too overwhelming because there's periods of breaks and like pauses with like taking in nature, taking in the new settings, even like walking us through.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver's Avatar too. We still don't know what they're gonna do with her.
Yeah, that's a lot of tease, a lot of setup. You know, so I like all of that. I like meeting the water people and how they don't skip over. Oh, we're just in the clan now. No, it's a big plot point that they have to be accepted. Like they have to negotiate their way into refuge. You know what I mean? And like how it's uneasy and how the kids don't get along and they almost let the younger son out to die when they go for that fishing thing. Have to try and make up from the funny fist fight scene.
Yeah,
and just all the other crazy dynamics there and stuff. And it's a lot, but it was really entertaining. I liked it. Did you appreciate how there was a family oriented story in the plot here? It felt a little more focused in that way. I know you called it a simple plot at one point, but I think I think it does well with what it's setting out to do in terms of that part of the story.
Yeah, I mean I don't think it was a simple plot, but it wasn't like that doesn't necessarily hinder it. It just it limits it, I think, as to what the story's trying to accomplish.
It's like we said already though. It is set up. Like there's some expansion of world building, but it's not like, oh, this is it. No more avatars. Like they're clearly and they said that this script was split into 2 parts. They're not calling it part 1 and part 2. But 2 and 3 were supposed to be one big movie, but that's just not how it was not going to shake down like that. So I think there might be a more satisfying tie up to a few threads that were introduced here in the next movie. And allegedly 4 is supposed to go crazy, and like you're not going to expect what's coming and blah 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 blah. I don't know how much of that is him talking shit and how much is true, but I guess we'll find out if this thing makes enough. Because I think he said they had to make like 800 mil to break even, and he wants it to make as much as the first one. I'm like, I don't know if we're getting 2.7 bill out of this thing. I liked it a lot, but I don't think we're getting 2.7 bill. But it opened in China.
It's a tall feat.
It opened in China, so maybe if it does well there, maybe it'll have legs. I don't know.
Yeah.
What else? One of our gripes we were talking about on the way home was how we wish there could have been more Natiri in it.
Yeah, she was just kind of left to carrying like a lot of emotional weight, like crying.
And carrying it well, does she? Because every time she's on screen, I'm like,
I think she was like mad for the one.
The fight scene.
After her son was killed.
Yeah, that sold it for me though. That sold it because the son dying didn't do anything for me, but his family's reaction to him dying did something for me. I was like, even though we didn't know much about him, we knew what he meant to the family. So like that was powerful. And then of course her revenge quest. I'll kill you as many times as I have to, demon. It's a fun line. And she's really a trooper in this one because she's going along with what Sully thinks, and she doesn't want to move and she doesn't want to exile herself, but he thinks that's for the best, and he learns the hard way, but that's not going to solve it at the end. And now they have to stand up, and now they have to fight.
Yep.
And so, are they going to stay Steve people? I mean, that guy really accepted him in, that clan leader. He's like, "You lost a son. You're one of us."
Yeah,
now.
he said that's where they're gonna stand.
Well, we'll see if that's what
Yeah,
he's
but
we'll see.
they
about
always
that.
say that in the next movie. He's like, ah, we can't
He's
stay
like, I
here."
gotta exile myself again, bro. Sorry. Deuces. He's just gonna get all the passports. The themes of colonization are here from the first one: the wasting of natural resources, such as them not using the entirety of the whale, but only just a little serum. That's
Mhm.
80 million a pop. So in that way, it kind of treads a little bit of the same beats of the first one, while still telling some other, bringing your attention to other causes and stuff like sea preservation and stuff like that.
Right.
Still spectacular. The underwater stuff was unbelievable. What are you guys trying to see more or less of going forward? You guys, you interested in all the plots that were set up? Or are you just satisfied with
So
them, or what do you
if they're
think? Devin?
done, if their whole premise was to like they're gonna explore each village, like more villages and learn their ways, maybe I can get behind that. It may be repetitive, but it would be interesting to learn like all the new styles and stuff. You know, if it doesn't get too tedious. But if they're gonna stay with the water people, like that's there. Well, they still have like enough to work with, like all the villains and stuff. But so they're water people now, but they're not like really water people geographically speaking.
Sure.
So
Immigrants of sorts. You know what I
they
mean?
can only do
I
so
wanna
much.
know what happens with the other tribe, the tribe that they came from.
The one they left.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens to them? Because one of the criticisms people had was like, well, how did he know that they wouldn't just kill everybody in that tribe to try and
Right.
get to them? The only defense or logical
As they were about to with the other tribe,
exactly.
the water tribe.
Exactly. So what the only like logical thing you could do mental gymnastics for is like, well, they're in the mountains and the radar doesn't work there, and they have the home advantage. So it would be a large undertaking to basically throw all of your resources at it to try and maybe suss one dude out.
Well, yeah, because they were originally just trying to run away, you know. So and they knew like based off the last time they were in the same place, so they obviously couldn't stay there.
Yeah.
So that's why they were traveling to the waterfront villages because there's like so many and you can't really track them there.
What makes sense to me is that the movie does a pretty good job of walking you through stuff logically. And remember, the blue unit of like the Earth people, like the Marines or whoever they were, their whole idea was to walk, talk, and act like the natives so that it could infiltrate those mountains like an infection. But the only reason why they were caught on to them is because they saw a ship going out to the ocean, and then the commander suspected, oh, that's probably Jake and them running for it. Because why would a ship, an enemy ship, go out to the ocean for no reason?
Right. Yeah.
And that's how he was onto them. So
Mm.
they walked us through that part. So that was pretty litty titty.
Yeah.
I mean, like at the end of the day, I was very satisfied with it. And as a setup and as like a reintroduction, to me, this movie was just a reintroduction into the world of Pandora. And it took, and the family learned a hard lesson. And we got a ton of introductions to just new characters, new dynamics, et cetera, et cetera. I think at one point, Cameron said that, I don't know if it's after 3 or during 3, but we are supposed to see other tribes. Maybe we'll see volcano people. I don't know. But I heard that he's done with showing the nice side of Pandora in terms of like the people and how they behave and how they're noble and they're good. And apparently we're going to see some not so nice people going forward at some point.
Like
And I think that's
the
interesting.
Avatar people.
I'm sorry. Yeah, like Navi, like the actual natives. Natives who are.
Is that what they're all called, or is?
I think
is
they're
that
called
just-
Navi as a race. I think that like that's their race, and then there's like different like como se dice, whatever flavors, kind of like us. You know what I mean? You feel me, big doggy?
You mean Navi is the species?
I guess that's right. The species.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the human race and refer to Homo sapiens, but
So that's what you.
Right.
But that's what I
guess
meant, like the Navi race.
The animal. I don't know.
I'm not gonna get into the
Creature.
scientific kingdom. No, I'm not getting into all that. But I'm just saying that. See, the Ami, the race of humanoids indigenous to the moon that whatever goes around
Pandora.
Jupiter. Yeah, the moon that is Pandora.
It's so much bigger than Earth, though.
It's pretty large, my guy. It's pretty large. 2148 is when the first movie takes place. But yeah, no, if they can keep trending out, like, I'm glad. Well, one last thing I'll say is I'm glad that he's not writing alone anymore. He's got like a writing team with him, and I think that's what contributed to, because I think a writing couple worked on like Planet of the Apes, that whole trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think that
All three of
contributed to the kids sounding realistic and like having like a distinct voice and not sounding like too weird and cardboardy. You know what I mean? So everyone felt real. Like it was very immersive to me. So I was in love with it. And I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for some more Avatar. Hopefully, it makes enough money, but we'll see. One last little gripe I had was they never explained what happened to the Water Tribe after the third act finale. Like that boat started to go down, and like there was the other warriors who were fighting, and then just kind of thins out. It's just Jake Sully and his family versus Quaritch. Where'd they go? Never answered that.
I don't know.
It's one of my few gripes of the movie.
Amen.
But
I feel like this movie pulls from a lot of other movies, like Star Wars, Titanic. The one about the kid befriending a whale.
Life of Pi, or is that a different movie?
No, that's with the tiger.
Oh, that is with the tiger.
Pinocchio.
I just assumed since he was
Not
a
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Although maybe a little bit. But yeah, like I feel like it was like just taking things that work, Star Wars.
Sure.
And like
I'm not denying this movie has tropes.
Like embellishing it with it.
It definitely has tropes, but it's still an original IP in terms of like the concept, the initial concept. And to me, it's not about who does it first. It's about who does it right.
Yeah.
And people have been fumbling lately with franchises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll see how Dune goes if they just stick to the books or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Star Wars lately, you know, it's not the original trilogy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And even that was perfect. But
yeah, but I think that it kind of does take away a little bit from this movie in particular.
Why is
not
that?
necessarily from what they're setting up.
Sure.
Because like if you were to say this movie like flopped and there were no sequels coming after.
Sure.
Watching this movie, I think it is satisfying, but it wouldn't be as satisfying had it not focused so much on the setup for what's to come.
I understand.
More on the setup of what is being shown throughout the movie as a whole.
I see what you mean, and that's valid because it doesn't. While it does have a sense of finality in that like this part of the story's done being told, it's not like completely like, oh, and this is where we leave them. Like that's it. Next 10 years doesn't matter. They're happily ever after because it's not happily ever after. It's until next time.
Right.
And I think that's where your larger point might come from, and I get that. I really do.
Yeah.
So it definitely wouldn't work if it was the last one. I agree with that 110% because then it feels like, well, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what really was accomplished this movie?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say a lot of world building, a lot of setup of new characters, and amazing visuals. And for that's why I really love it. And then that message of family, like that really stuck it to me. But yeah, I know what you mean. As far as plot wise, it's kind of like, what are we doing? What's going on here? What really happened? Things happened though. They did happen.
They did.
Things happened.
Yeah.
And then things didn't.
Well, you gotta sprinkle it out. You gotta sprinkle it out for the next one.
But yeah.
Like that critique you had about the exosuits, and like, oh, you showed us their capabilities, but then they didn't really do anything.
Right.
Well, they're on a boat, and they didn't have guns. The boat wasn't outfitted for war. It was outfitted for whaling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But those exosuits were outfitted to kick and.
You want to kick a
jump
whale
whale.
that's like 100, 200, 400 feet long?
I mean,
that's
maybe
about to smash
an
you?
Avatar. I don't know.
Yeah, an Avatar, sure. But who was really on the ship who was hostile? It was just the whale at that time.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying that I think their potential will be realized later.
I
This
think-
movie,
Yeah.
a third of
later.
it is
Well,
setting up stuff.
Yeah, I think like in terms of like what the movie was setting up, that
Mhm.
could have been taken out just because it didn't pertain to the rising and falling action of the movie. Like it didn't have. It was just kind of like thrown in there.
Yeah, but that's part of what world building is sometimes. I understand you're saying it wasn't
Right.
essential to the third act or whatever, but like it's irrelevant to the universe as a whole. And it being shown didn't take away from the introduction of the general. If anything, it enhanced what she's doing in her own time while telling you a piece of the world. So to me, it wasn't like completely unnecessary,
Mhm.
but I can see your issue with it. You
Well,
know what I
no,
mean?
I
Yeah.
think what would have been cool is like, you know how in that brief
Closer to the mic.
you know how when she was like boxing that body bag in
Sure.
that exoskeleton suit,
Right.
it would have been cool if like that general or like any of like the avatars like got off and were like starting to
Sparring
fight
with her.
like
That
spar
would have
with
been
her.
cooler because it showed you some of the capabilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
Can that thing
like
roll?
a little bit of a.
Can that thing do a
Yeah.
freaking like triangle, flying triangle or something? That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
something, right?
And it worked
That
out
would've been
too because
cooler.
it was like just as tall as like the avatars, so
Right.
it would have been a perfect matchup.
Right.
So it would have been really pretty cool to see like a little like Street Fighter style,
Mhm.
fight.
Or even if like an avatar was just holding pads or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That would have been a much cooler spectacle because now you could see. Oh, can it go toe to toe with the Navi? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it that
I would
agile?
have just wanted to see it go toe to toe with the Navi.
There you go, just for giggles. He gets entertained. You get to see what it can do. Everybody wins.
It would be dope.
Yeah.
I'll call Cameron. He'll get our notes. But anyway, that to me that's mild. I'm like, it'll come back.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it'll come
it's
back.
definitely mild.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I was overall we were very satisfied with it. So I think solid 9.5 for me. We'll see how it ages in the grand context of like the other ones that come after it. But I think within context, solid. I mean, even with what I have now, solid. So I was very entertained by it. What about you, Damon? Give it a little rating, 1 to 10.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
Solid. What about you, Big Apple?
I think an 8.
Wicked, bro.
I liked it, but
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't
Some
think
people
It was
some people don't love it. That's
amazing.
okay.
I think it could have been a bit more creative. But I don't know. I mean, it had a lot like it had a lot that it was trying to do, and I think it accomplished it well.
Right.
But I think I don't know, like in terms of storytelling, those aspects could have been.
To be fair, it's more of like a chapter movie.
That's
It's
exactly
more
what
of
I'm
like
thinking.
a visual story than it is.
Well, my thing is it's trying to be both. That's the thing. Like there's a plot, but there's also like the non-verbal storytelling aspect of it. It's both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's the family aspect of it, and then there's the story of Pandora. Like what is
Right.
the nature like?
Well, no.
What is the people interacting with it like? What is the larger thing they're getting at with Awa? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are they
Yeah,
getting
but
at with that?
I think like the way that the dialogue was written, overall, like ratio of nonverbal visual storytelling to like the people talking or the characters talking ended up being more lenient to the visuals and making sure like the actors were acting enough to like it put more weight on that sort of part of storytelling than it did the actual script and like what was written
Right.
and solved throughout the script.
Especially compared to the first movie, which was all dry land. Another thing to consider was yes, that he like holds your hand, walking you through like the landscape and all of that, but also like you can't speak underwater unless you have some sort of device. So a lot of like except for people in submarines who are like he's over there, rah. Like except for that, a lot of it was just sign language or just nonverbals. Like,
Right.
You can't speak underwater, and this movie is majority underwater. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think that contributes to it. That doesn't necessarily excuse it, but it definitely contributes to that non-verbal storytelling aspect of this film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's gonna show you landscapes whether you want to or not. You're gonna look at those flying mountains in the first movie.
I know those look great.
That's I'm just saying. So that's the way he rolls. But hopefully there'll be a better balance for you personally in the next one. But for what it was, I was still satisfied with that. But I can see your point. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Any other lingering thoughts, gentlemen, while we wrap up this year?
No, I think with the whole like what's the guy's
Awa?
name? Awa.
Awa?
With the Awa and the Grace connection, it would have been more memorable if it came out on Christmas, so they can allude to Jesus.
It's close enough. People are gonna go watch it Christmas Day and be like, "Oh, that's the baby Jesus." You know what I mean? That's what people are gonna do. They're gonna be like, "I'm so smart,"
But it's girl Jesus this time.
I don't understand. I mean, I don't think that's the point. I think the point is like the parallels. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that too.
2022 Jesus. Jesuicina. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I think that's our review of Avatar 2, unless anyone has any other thoughts to add. No, we're good.
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, for Media Munchers, I'm Nathan.
I'm Damien.
And I'm Adrian.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and see you in 2023. We out.
You didn't say New Year. Happy New Year.
See you next year.